We've talked about different applications. Some of them you may be using, some of them maybe you're not. But let's be realistic, it's January. If your school budget's anything like mine, I want to do lots of different things and I've got no money until April. So how do you get started? We've talked about 3 things. What should you do? Well, the first thing you should do is perhaps use the Open Disk. It used to be called the Open CD, but there's so much software on it now, they've had to put it on a disk rather than a CD. On that you have a collection of all the software we've been talking about, most of it. OpenOffice, you've got things like web design software, graphic software, you've got the whole package on the CD, you just put it in your machine, have a look and play with it. So just say you're at home, you've got your CD in your machine, you're getting used to using all these different bits of free software, and actually you want to make sure that you can use those everywhere. The next stage to do will probably be to use something called portable apps. Now that's basically a cut-down version of the software that you put on a memory stick and you take it with you anywhere. The kids in my school use this a lot. They've got all their files that they've saved and also the applications on one memory stick. They can go to the internet cafe, they go to their friend's house, they come to school and at home, and they've got the software that they need to use along with their documents anywhere that they go. Also very useful for if you're giving presentations somewhere and you're not sure what versions of things that people have. You can take your own software with you. On your seats, you should have 2 examples of that. As I was saying earlier, you've got Ubuntu, but you've also got the Open Education Disk. Now, that's just like the Open CD, apart from it's more aimed at education. So, I think we use 90% of the things that are on here in our school. So have to play with that. These are very education specific. So just say you've been playing with the CD, and that's brilliant. You've got portable apps, brilliant. But you work in textiles, and you want to find out if there's any free textile software that would be really good for you, or you want to achieve something in school, what's available. There's a couple of places that you can have a look. The first one is Open Source Schools, which is this project. If you go onto our website, you'll see that we've actually chosen like the pick of the crop. There's hundreds upon hundreds of different software applications you could use. We've chosen some of the best ones. Have a look on there. We've got a list of them on there. A lot of them are linked to case studies of real schools, how they're using it, difficulties they found, or any sort of quite innovative things they've been using it with. The other place you could look would be a website, SchoolForge. And what they've done is they've got a very comprehensive list, and it's linked to the curriculum. So you can click on food, and it will come up with some food programs. You can click on biology, and it will have a whole load of programs that will be useful for your curriculum area. That's well and good for education. Those are very education specific. If there's something that's perhaps outside the remit of normal education software, or something you'd like to try at home, SourceForge is a good place to go to. It's one of the largest directories of software. It has all kinds of anything that you would want to use, and probably a few that you haven't found a reason to use yet. Very, very large directory. So, you've been introduced to open source, you're using it in school, you're using it at home. Where would you go to next? Well, if you're absolutely loving it, why don't you try installing a completely free operating system? You've got one on your chairs. Very, very safe to do, because you can put this into your computer at home, start it, and you've got a Linux environment. You're not downloading it, you can run it straight from the CD. So you're not saving it onto your computer, you're not going to break anything, it's not going to go wrong. You can just have a look and have a play. If you want to install it, you can, and you can use it at the same time as whatever operating system. If you're using Windows, you can run both at the same time. So that would be the next place to start with. One of the main concerns people have when you start talking about open source, they kind of feel that they're on their own. Because it's free, maybe there's no support. What happens if I can't use something? What if it goes wrong? Well, there is a lot of support available. Although the software is free, you can get commercial support as well as free support. So if you're using a particular application in school, you can ask a company to provide commercial support for you. There are also companies that will provide training for software. So if you decide to move, instead of using perhaps Microsoft Office and you want to use the Open Office, you can pay people to come in and deliver staff training for you. One of the other causes of support is because the code is available, you can customise the software, so you can get it to do exactly what you want it to do, or look exactly how you want it to look. You can also request new features. This is really, really important, because if you're using sorry to keep repeating, Microsoft Word, and you think, God, it would be so useful if it did this, you can write a letter to Microsoft and say, please can you do this? And I'm guessing you're not going to hear anything back. Certainly not within a couple of weeks or months. But by definition, because this is a community project generally, you can write and say, do you know, it would be really useful if it did this, and you will get a response. Sometimes within hours, people will try to make the product better. You can also ask companies to host different things for you. Things like Zimbra, which is the email systems. You can ask different companies to actually host it and support normal applications. On top of that, you also have the community support. Communities are groups of people who all support each other. All the major applications that we've talked about all have their own community groups. Community groups are made up of a variety of different people, most of them volunteers. Some of those volunteers actually also provide commercial support as well, but as well as looking at the commercial forums, they'll look at the open forums as well, try to help you. So you can write into a forum and say, I have no idea how to do this, people will answer and help you. Quite often, those community groups are also hosted by developers. The people who've written the software will be taking part in the forums. They've got a very vested interest in making it better. If you're using a variety of different applications, you don't always have to go to, say, Open Office's forum. You can go to general forums that's about general open source software. Write in your problem, people are very, very keen to help. You can subscribe to mailing lists, so you get to find out about new developments and updates. And there's also just chat rooms. So if you don't feel brave enough to actually post your problem, you think everyone's going to laugh and think I'm an idiot, try chat rooms. They're very, very useful, very helpful to a nice group of people. If you'd like to find out more information, all this is available on open source tools.